Hello everyone, this is Mr. Brain Junkie here, and today we'll be talking about a science fiction action film called The Hunting. Be ready for some spoilers ahead. Somewhere inside an isolated forest on the mountains, two poachers are planning to hunt wild animals illegally at night, but they are quickly interrupted by a giant asteroid that crash lands onto the grounds nearby. This causes the people to go investigate the object immediately as they slowly approaches the mysterious lights, but the people are immediately stunned in fear as they see numerous alien hounds crawling out from the giant crater. The monsters see the humans and roars furiously towards the poachers, while causing the people to run desperately the opposite way as the monsters chase them closely behind. However, the humans are clearly not fast enough to escape from the alien hounds as the creatures quickly manage to take down one of the poachers and devouring the man at the same time. This allows the remaining survivor to eventually escape away from the forest as he immediately prepares his gun to take down the enemies, but the man fails to locate the aliens anywhere in sight. Just when the poacher thinks that he's finally safe, a massive monster approaches him slowly from behind and knocking away the human like a flying ragdoll. Luckily, before the alien monster can finish the kill, a flying aircraft lands inside the nearby forest while forcing the monster to run away. It's quickly revealed that a humanoid alien has arrived on Earth as well, as it slowly unleashes its tentacles before roaring furiously towards the sky. Sometimes later, a young man called Ray arrives inside a nearby village as he has accepted a job offering to become a forest ranger inside the mountains. However, when the man eventually meets the chief inside the small town, Ray is quickly assigned to become the apprentice for a second ranger called Sean, who's infamous for having a horrible temper after his son was killed by the poachers in cold blood. This causes the old ranger to become restless ever since the incident as he tries continuously to track down the criminals for vengeance. Surprisingly, the man eventually manages to locate a bunch of blood stains inside the snow, which eventually leads the ranger towards a location that's filled by bodies of wolves who were likely killed by the poachers as well. Sean decides to continue forwards alongside the remaining tracks and quickly manages to find a man sitting behind the fallen tree trunks, but to his surprise, the poacher appears to have been killed just like the wolves. With no other choice, the man decides to continue venturing forwards as he eventually finds a second body laying on the ground, but this time the poacher appears to be still breathing. This causes Sean to become filled with rage as he begins smashing the criminal furiously while trying to wake up the poacher and demanding to know the whereabouts of their leader. However, what the man doesn't realize is that he's in terrible danger while the aliens are wandering inside the forest alongside the humans as a furious battle is about to begin. At the same time, Ray has made it inside the forest as well as he tries to look for his new partner, but only to see a ghostly figure in the distance who quickly disappears behind the trees. Surprisingly, the young man is too naive to be alarmed by the obvious threat and eventually decides to head towards the old ranger's house where he plans on unpacking his baggages inside the building. However, Ray is quickly interrupted from behind by the old ranger who points the gun directly at the man's head. Luckily, Ray manages to show the identification immediately to avoid being killed, but quickly notices a second person laying on the ground inside the yards and rushes to help the injured man right away. To his surprise, Sean quickly pours a bucket of water onto the poacher's face as he forces the criminal to reveal the location of their leader while nearly choking the man unconscious in the process. This forces Ray to push the old ranger away from the injured poacher, but the criminal quickly takes the chance and throws the young man onto Sean before shooting towards the people and blowing up himself with the malfunctioning rifle. Sean sees that the criminal has perished from the explosion and decides to go pursue the other poachers all by himself while telling the young man to leave the mountains immediately. This gives Ray no other choice but to rush away from the location right away, but before the young man can leave the forest, he quickly noticed two gigantic craters on the ground, which were clearly not created by any humans. At the same time, the leader of the poachers called Fang has managed to hunt down a female black bear alongside his minions, while also killing the animal's offsprings as well. However, what the people don't realize is that their gunshots have attracted the attention of the old ranger, who begins rushing towards their location immediately while taking down the criminals who are guarding the area. This eventually alerted one of the poachers while causing forcing the man to inspect the commotion, but he's quickly ambushed by the ranger from inside the snow and gets knocked out immediately as well. Very soon, Sean manages to finally locate the other criminals as he prepares to kill the man who's responsible for the death of his child. What he doesn't realize is that he has already been spotted by someone hiding on the trees, who quickly manages to knock out the ranger in the process. This eventually allows the poachers to capture the main character as they bring the old man towards their leader right away, but Fang only seems to care about his younger brother called Don, who was responsible for capturing the ranger. Surprisingly, Sean refuses to give up on his revenge as he quickly gets up and tries to kill Fang right away, but only gets knocked onto the ground by the criminals while getting beat up continuously by the enemies. Luckily, just before Fang is about to kill the main character, the people are quickly interrupted by Ray, who demands the criminals to let go of the ranger immediately. However, the enemies don't seem to be threatened by the man's words, as Don slowly approaches the ranger while daring him to shoot the rifle, before quickly knocking away the weapon and taking the man hostage as well. Surprisingly, just before the people can kill the rangers, they are quickly interrupted by one of the alien monsters, but Don decides to play the hero and tries to approach the creature all by himself. This eventually allows the man to make contact with the horrific creature, but the monster quickly attacks the human and throws him onto the ground. The people sees this and begins shooting towards the alien right away, while Fan tries to save his brother who has been severely injured. However, the group soon realize that they're surrounded by even more of the flesh-eating creatures as they prepare to battle for their lives. Very soon, the monsters begin attacking everyone from all sides, while the people try desperately to fight back, but the aliens continue killing the humans like nothing but insects. This eventually allows Ray to go save his partner, while the poachers are being destroyed by the vicious monsters and being poisoned by the creature's blood that also managed to make contact with the old ranger. Luckily, just before the people are killed by the enemies, the monster is quickly stopped by numerous tentacles and violently ripped apart by an alien humanoid. The people are stunned by the monstrous appearance of the tentacle monster, while the other creatures begin attacking the alien as well. Things become even worse when the leader of the alien hounds arrives towards the battlefield and begins attacking the alien humanoid right away, while throwing the creature flying across the forest with tremendous force. This causes them to crash onto the ground, while the alien hound pierces the opponent right in the chest. Don sees this and quickly shoots the monster on the head, but is only stabbed by the enemy while thrown away across the field, as it knocks the other humans flying backwards as well. Luckily, the horrific monster only seems to be interested in hunting down the alien humanoid, as it quickly begins chasing after the creature alongside the other monsters. This allows the poachers to rush towards their fallen comrades, as the gang leader cries painfully at the sight of his brother's motionless body, while allowing the rangers to escape at the same time. Very soon, the people manage to run away from the forest and eventually arriving back towards their house, while Sean is suffering continuously in pain from the alien creature's poisonous blood. With no other choice, the old man decides to take a sip of alcohol to numb his pain, while his partner brings him a heated blade to cauterize the wounds, and the ranger presses the blistering object onto his arm, which causes him to scream in agony. At the same time, the poachers have made it out from the forest as well, but they are not able to save their wounded comrades, which includes the leader's own brother. The people realize that they have no chance of beating the aliens, but Fang is completely blinded by revenge, as he tells his lieutenant called Tiger to bring him the dynamites from their hideout so they can go destroy all the monsters. This causes the poacher to quickly rush away from the mountains as he tries to make it towards their base, but soon realizes that something is wrong as the alien hounds are right behind the man. Luckily, the human manages to avoid being detected by the monsters as he begins following the creatures as well. Very soon, the aliens have arrived towards a nearby factory where the construction workers are unloading building materials onto the ground. However, the people quickly realize that something is lurking in the shadows while being attacked immediately by the flesh-eating monsters, who manages to take over the entire building right away, but the creatures fail to realize that Tiger has observed the entire incident as well. At the same time, Sean has finally regained consciousness from his injuries and realizes that he managed to survive the aliens' poisons after cauterizing his arm, but the people are unsure about what they should do next, as they're obviously no match for the vicious creatures. Suddenly, their conversation is quickly interrupted by a loud noise from the shed, which forces the rangers to approach the building carefully as they eventually make it inside the location. Surprisingly, it turns out that the alien hunter has decided to take shelter inside the building, while the people slowly approaches the creature and realize realizes that it's severely wounded from its previous fight. However, Sean is obviously terrified by the towering monster, while the people rush out from the building right away and locking the creature inside the shed, but Ray thinks that they should help the alien by cauterizing its wounds as well. The humans eventually goes back inside the building while slowly approaching the alien and showing the creature that they mean no harm. This allows Sean to use the blistering blade and pressing the metal onto the giant creature while causing all the people to scream at the same time. Surprisingly, this quickly manages to get rid of the poison while allowing the alien hunter to stand up immediately as it slowly approaches the humans while forcing the people into a corner. However, it turns out that the alien is only trying to communicate with the Rangers as it eventually puts its giant arm onto Ray and begins sending a series of images through the man's brain. It's quickly revealed that the alien is from a species of galactic hunters, and it was sent here to destroy the flesh-eating monsters known as the insectoids while retrieving a powerful stone that they stole. This makes the humans realize that the alien hunter is actually on their side, but before their conversation can continue, a bunch of dynamites are thrown inside the building while causing a huge explosion in the process. Luckily, Sean eventually manages to recover from the deadly attack, but quickly realizes that the poachers have come to take revenge on the forest rangers. With no other choice, Sean decides to take on the enemies all by himself, but is clearly outnumbered by the vicious criminals as they try to attack the man altogether while nearly ending the ranger's life. However, Sean eventually manages to gain the advantage as he strikes down the enemies by using the nearby objects and furiously knocking out the criminals at the same time. Fang sees this and immediately begins running the other way, while Sean has no intentions of letting the man escape as they eventually make it back inside the forest once again. Despite the old ranger's unwillingness to let the enemy get away, the man fails to keep up due to his injuries from the explosion and eventually begins losing sight of the poacher. This allows Fang to quickly ambush the ranger and causing them both to roll down the hills, but Sean manages to quickly regain his balance as he tackles the enemy onto the ground while trying to kill the man who murdered his son. However, the enemy eventually manages to retaliate as he begins choking the ranger to death, but Sean is able to kick away the poacher just in time. Unfortunately, this also gives the enemy a second chance to escape from the location, while Sean is furious for failing to take vengeance once again. Luckily, before the ranger can bleed to death on the icy ground, Ray finally manages to regain consciousness from the previous explosion as he rushes outside immediately and begins following the footsteps towards the forest. This eventually leads the young man towards his mentor as he runs towards the old ranger right away, but soon realizes that Sean is gravely wounded from the fight. With no other choice, Ray decides to carry the old man on his back as he tries to make it back towards the nearby city, while eventually arriving in front of the abandoned factory filled with alien hounds. At the same time, Fang has managed to find his lieutenant after escaping away from the old ranger, but the man quickly learns from his friend about the alien's location and decides to kill the monsters to avenge his brother's death. On the other side, Sean has eventually regained consciousness inside the factory, but instead of trying to escape from their current predicament, the ranger only wants to seek revenge upon the man who killed his son. However, Ray refuses to allow his partner to continue this pointless endeavor as the old ranger will most likely end up dying as well. Luckily, the young man manages to eventually convince his mentor to give up the lust for vengeance, but their conversation is quickly interrupted by the alien insectoids outside, who are trying to hunt down the humans like prey. Surprisingly, the poachers have made it inside the building as well and quickly attacks the enemies by using their bombs, which causes the monsters to begin chasing the humans right away. This forces the criminals to sprint the opposite direction as they try to slow down the creature by using their dynamites, but the people fail to cause any damage towards the monster with the bombs. Very soon, the poachers are forced onto the second floor while the monster is slowly approaching them from the shadows and eventually manages to grab onto the lieutenant before dragging the man towards the walls to be devoured. Fang realizes that there's no way to save his comrade who's being ripped apart by the monster and eventually decides to shoot his friend's dynamites while blowing up the alien as well. At the same time, the rangers are trying to escape from the factory as well and eventually makes it towards the exit, but are quickly forced to hide behind the covers and away from the monster that's patrolling nearby. Luckily, the people manage to locate a vehicle and immediately rushes inside to start the car, but the creature quickly notices the humans as well and begins rushing towards them right away. This allows the monster to jump onto the people while Ray quickly takes off inside the car as Sean manages to knock off the creature just in time. However, However, the alien refuses to allow the humans to escape as it eventually makes it onto the second floor before jumping onto the vehicle once again while trying to bite onto the Rangers from the ceiling. Luckily, before the creature can make it inside the car, Ray quickly slams onto the brakes, which throws the alien hound flying across the field, but the monster manages to recover almost immediately. With no other choice, the Rangers decide to accelerate the vehicle as the enemy charges towards them furiously, which allows the people to crash onto the alien before slamming the monster onto the wall. Sometimes later, when the people eventually manage to regain consciousness from the terrible crash, Sean quickly realized that his partner has been severely injured. This forces the old ranger to treat the man's wounds right away before carrying his partner on his back and heading towards the nearest town for help. However, what they don't realize is that the alien hunter has somehow regained consciousness from the previous battle as well. At the same time, Fang is still trying to hunt down the last alien, but is quickly ambushed by the creature from behind, while the monster roars furiously towards the human. Surprisingly, the poacher doesn't seem to be afraid of the monster, as he plans on killing the insectoid even if it costs his own life. This eventually causes the alien to charge towards the human furiously before pushing the man towards the barrels of gasoline. However, before the monster can finish killing the man, Fang manages to cause a huge explosion while blowing up the entire factory right in front of the escaping Rangers. Unfortunately, the main character quickly realizes that the alien insectoid has somehow survived the massive explosion as it roars furiously and charges directly towards the humans. Luckily, just before the people are killed by the raging monster, it's quickly tackled away by the alien hunter, and the two creatures begin clashing together while inflicting tremendous damage at the same time. However, the insectoid is clearly more powerful as it quickly gains the advantage while piercing the opponent right in the chest, but the alien hunter manages to recover immediately as it begins shooting its tentacles towards the enemy as well. This allows the alien to stun the insectoid while inflicting numerous cuts towards the enemy's body and causing the monster to scream in pain, but the insectoid quickly throws the alien hunter onto the ground as well. Luckily, their fight is interrupted by the main character's gunshots, which allows the alien hunter to retaliate immediately while stabbing the enemy numerous times on the head. This causes the insectoid to be severely injured as a result, while the alien hunter quickly jumps onto the nearby telephone pole and striking the enemy with tremendous force. However, the insectoid refuses to give up and tries to launch a desperate attack, while the alien hunter easily counters the opponent before grabbing onto the monster's jaws and ripping out the energy stone from the creature's body. Unfortunately, their victory is earned with a hefty cost, as Ray has stopped breathing a long time ago, but the alien hunter eventually decides to place its gigantic arm onto the young man while transferring its energy towards the ranger. This eventually allows the man to open his eyes once again, while the alien hunter slowly levitates towards its massive spaceship before leaving the energy stone for the humans as a present for helping it destroy the horrific insectoids. Sometimes later, the rangers have recovered from their injuries as they continue guarding the forest from illegal poachers, but they chose to keep the entire incident as a secret from the authorities. However, the people begin to wonder if the aliens will ever come back to their planet, as there are many more questions that are still not answered from their brief encounter. But what the humans don't realize is that the mysterious stone they received is already sending signals towards the other civilizations. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like my videos, please press like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys next time.